fixing up the Man of Steel with the help of some machines. Here's your look at McFarlane Toys, DC Multiverse, the Superman movie, Superman Robots. The 6 Superman robots, simple metal automatons currently led by Robot 4, man the Fortress of Solitude for the Man of Steel, caring not only for him, but for his Kryptonian legacy as well. Wonder what their pension plan is like. Let's, though, take the tape measure, shall we, and see how tall the new DC Multiverse Superman Deluxe Theatrical Edition Superman robot stands, which is also as well a McFarlane Red Platinum Edition figure. We seem to have moved away completely from the idea of Platinum Editions, and now we're kind of in the territory of Red Platinums. I wonder if we're eventually going to be getting Blue Platinums, Green Platinums. Nobody really cares. Let's go ahead, though, in the meantime, and take the tape measure. The Superman robot's going to stand exactly 7 inches in height. The figure is also going to be 18 centimeters tall. Deluxe Theatrical Editions? We've been there. We've done that. Here's, in fact, what the figure looks like with the Deluxe Theatrical Edition version of Superman, just getting his feet to stand straight. The only really, again, difference between this one and the regular version of Superman was that this one had a cloth cape and it did have swappable faceplates. Done the reviews for both. We also did get, in fact, a Deluxe Theatrical Edition of Lex Luthor, and though, unfortunately, we didn't get a Deluxe Theatrical Edition of him, we still got movies Metamorpho. Kind of feel a bit bad that I left out this little scamper as well. We did get also a Crypto. Crypto was part of the Theatrical Edition. In fact, actually, you know what, Crypto can stand in for this review while we look at all the other accessories that come included with Robot 4. It's funny, though, that it's called Robot 4. Robot 4 would have been voiced by Alan Tudyk. And yet, though, in the movie, there's also Robot 12. So if you look at actually at the back of the card, no, I'm speaking too fast. First, the figure does come included with a display stand. The DC logo is branded this time in silver down below, and of course does have a peg that can plug into either one of the robot's boots. Or I guess would that be his robotic feet. Going, though, to the trading card. Now, the trading card is, again, closer to resembling the theatrical editions in which they don't have the white border. And, again, it's more of an illustration of the character. On the side, it does say Deluxe Theatrical Edition. If you were to actually close your eyes, you could be able to feel that out. I don't really necessarily... Could I be able to feel out what that letters would be? I know Braille would not be actually just the exact letters, but would I be able to decipher that says Deluxe Theatrical Edition? I've got my eyes closed right now. I already know that it says that anyways. What's interesting, though, is on the back of the card, it says the 6 Superman robots. Now, I've gone back to look at the trailers again, like twist my rubber arm. I see 4 robots. I also see in the more recent trailer that 4 robots, if I'm counting them correctly, get destroyed when Lex Luthor first enters into the Fortress of Solitude. Could those possibly be the 4 robots that we see also saving Superman? We don't even know, again, like the timeline sequence in which those robots appear. But when they are saving Superman, when they re-heal him with the sun's rays, we see 4 of them. And we see 4 of them carrying Superman then over to the seat where they put him in, and then the big giant magnifying glass zaps him. And yet, though, on the back of the card, it does say 6. And yet, though, in the trailer, again, we get Robot 12. So I don't really know how the math really works all out. Technically, you would think that if there's a Robot 12, there would be 12 robots. I'm sure this will be explained at some point. Maybe that just happens to be that Superman just hand-plucked those 4 robots in no particular order or sequence. Anyways, though, the robot does come include with some swappable parts. If you really look at his robot arms already, the figure does have one pointing hand, and on the other side, he has sort of more of a closed fist. Other available options for the robot, though, to include another pointing hand, which is kind of interesting, too, because if you look at the robot, the only thing that's really different is the fact that this has the means now to grip something, even though really the robot doesn't have any other things to hold other than just his swappable faces. So you have one that's got a closed fist that's got the pointing finger, and then you got one that's more of a pointing finger that grabs something, although that something is still unknown. Then there's also a thumbs up hand. So again, if you want to swap out the hands, you just hold onto the forearms here, twist the hands back and forth, and pop them off the peg. And just take the peg. Now, this is kind of one thing because the arms are also a little bit smaller. The pegs are going to stay with the hands. The pegs, don't be looking for them. They're in the... I'm so used to kind of doing that when we do DC Multiverse figures that I go to pop the hand off and I'm always expecting to see the peg. And even though I've done this a couple of times, I, for a moment, though, stopped and thought, whoa, where's the peg? And I had to realize quickly it was on the end of the hand. So we just pop the new hand then in place. There we go. And now we got a thumbs up. The boy in blue is going to pull through, everybody. Everybody. The other thing that he does also have, or does it also have, is some swappable faces. Now, if you look at the faces, the thing that changes is the visor. So you can see, like, for example, this has more of a larger eye. This has kind of more of a squinty or bashful eye. The mouth is also a little bit changed too. There's that. There's also this one, where it looks like he's more smiling. It would be helpful if I showed you guys that in camera. This one has slightly more squinted eye. And then there's also this one, which is just a regular visor. It doesn't have the little eye, little cyclops eye in the middle. If you did want to change out the eyes, though, it's just a case of taking the... Now, this kind of surprised me. When you take the two halves, you have to take this half off from the back half. I was surprised with how long of a peg this was. I felt like I kept pulling the thing. See, pulling. That's how long the peg is. It's definitely to ensure that the front of the face isn't going to fall off. But I felt like the peg just went on forever. Just take, again, the face that you want to swap it out. There's the little peg hole on the inside. There's the peg right there. You get a close enough shot of that. There we go. There we go. Just take that and line everything back up. Slide it smoothly in place. And now the robot has a swappable face. Now, to go back and think of the idea that we have 6 robots advertised on the back of the card. Again, I don't know what numbered sequence these would be, that we have a number 4 and number 12, but still. It's odd, though, that they gave us swappable faces, and yet the only thing that changes one robot to the other is also this crest right here. Logically, they could have also included, I mean, in fact, like even just doing away with the plastic on a couple of these hands, had they just included the same sort of notion as what they've done to the front of the face, a swappable front placard. So ideally, you'd be able to just pop this off, right? I mean, it can't because it's all attached right here. But in theory, though, if you removed the 4, you could replace it with 12, right? Because you would imagine that they're eventually going to do this. Like McFarlane's likely going to be shipping out several different versions of the robot, which are exactly going to be the same. Maybe the face might change in some of them, but then the only thing that's really going to be different is that one's going to say 4, one's going to say 12, one's going to say, again, the other 2 robots. But I feel like they could have almost just packaged that all together. If anything, again, do away with the hands, or maybe do away with at least one of these heads, and then use the plastic budget for that to replace it then with the little placard pieces. Take then the shield, again, just change those around. You could get the 4, and then right away, collectors would go out, buy 4 different robots, or 4 of the same robot, and then they would just be able to swap the pieces out. And you could just do that all out the gates. You wouldn't have to release them individually with each of the different numbers. For the rest of the details, the robot looks just as good as it does in the trailers. Again, we don't have the movie out just yet. It does have a cape. I think, though, the cape is a little too short. To go and look at this again, I feel like the capes are a little bit longer in the movie. They do have, though, a wire that's run down the side, and it's running down the other side, and it's loose right in the middle. So, again, you can pose the cape if you want. You can bend the cape if you want. There you go. Granted, you could do a little bit better of a job than I'm just doing right now. Are you enjoying this, by the way, Crypto? Okay, good. I'm glad you're enjoying that. I do really think that this is a neat-looking design of robot. Now, it's not been introduced in the James Gunn universe. I mean, Superman has had robots protecting the Fortress of Solitude for years. The thing I think it's really clever, though, is that James Gunn didn't use CG to create these. In fact, the robots were actually mechanically created. I mean, granted, they weren't fully walking robots. I think they actually had themselves like the cabling on the back, but that they actually did animatronic robots. That shows James Gunn's passion to creating something that could be living, breathing realistically, even though a robot really isn't living or breathing. The thing I really also like about this is it's very posable. It's got a lot of good colors going in here as well. Got some blues, some metallic blues, some darker blues, all kind of sticking with the same shade, just like, a couple of various shades of that blue. The inside, as you can see, of the legs, there's a lot of good detailing going on in the interior. Of course, you got the plates on the outside. Very lean looking legs, the very lean looking arms as well. On the back of the body too, it kind of has a very similar design to like some of the droids we would see in Star Wars. Although, again, like with the way that Star Wars movies have been as of late, that would probably not be a good idea to compare it to that. Again, when it comes to the cape, it looks like it's actually attached by this piece right here. Realistically, if you didn't like the look of the cape, I would imagine you'd probably be able to kind of pry this off. The cape would be tucked underneath. But if they have it in the movie, there's no real reason, I feel, to take the cape off. Now, for the robot's articulation, very surprised to see that he had as much as he does. The head's going to be on, first of all, it's not attached where, like, if you're looking at the head, for example, it's not as a separate piece. It does look like the neck and the head are all one piece, but they likely have done that so that the sculpting doesn't look interrupted. The neck, however, though, is the thing that's doing all the work, and it's on a very good ball joint, so you can move the head down, up, back, and forth. You can, of course, rotate it all the way around as well. The top of the torso. So how this works is the top of it is on a ball joint, but there's not a whole lot you can do with it. You can move it more forward or side to side. You can't really do too much when it comes to up and down. When you also move it to the side, you can see there's more of a gap that is developed in there. But when it works for its crunch, it doesn't actually so much crunch up here. It crunches right here, and it moves forward and back that way. All really is just a peg that goes from this side to this side, or it probably is just like a clamp piece where it's got the little tabs on both sides, and they just wedged it on top. So it gives us at least the crunch that we deserve for this figure. The arms do hinge out. I wouldn't comfortably say at 90 degrees. I mean, with the amount of space that it has, yes, you can bring the arms down and get a little more clearance. So if you want to have a full T pose, you will have to drop the arms down. If you leave them up like this, you can't do as much, obviously. So I do like that they can actually shift up and down, shimmy their way, depending on which look you really want to have. So again, if you drop them as far down, you can get a T pose going for the robot's arms. The figure doesn't have bicep swivel though, but what it does have though is a single hinge in the elbow. It's kind of surprising though that they didn't incorporate a cut right here, because then you could have swiveled at the bicep. Technically there is some swivelage that's happening more to the shoulder, but there's nothing that seems to be the case here in the bicep. Just again a single hinge in the elbow, but it bends decently enough, and the hands do rotate all the way around. They're just again on those pegs. For the figure's legs, the legs work so that they can split out. There's enough space and allotment on that. Are you enjoying this, by the way? Okay, good. The legs do also move forward and back. A good kick forward and a good kick backwards as well. There's a swivel, but the swivel actually is further down. It's not at the top where the leg connects. So it swivels more so like right here. You can move it back and forth. The figure does have knee articulation, but again, it's only just a single hinge. It's got also ankle articulation, and you can also move the ankle back and forth. It doesn't have toe articulation. There's nothing that's posable on the ends for the toots, but at least it does move forward and back, and again, you can rock it back and forth as well. Even though, again, I just don't know how the numbers really work all out, because again, like the card says, well, in the trailer it says you see 4. In the later trailer, you see 4. I count 4 being destroyed as Lex Luthor enters into the Fortress of Solitude. So again, it could be these 4. It could be that there's a total of 8. Maybe, and that 4 robots or even more got destroyed, and these are the 4 that are left that save Kal-El when again he needs to have that the sunlight shining down on his body. Either way though, again, like the numbers, if you look at them, robot 4, which I guess would be the primary robot, and then of course there's the robot 12 that kind of has more of the female voice, gets a little giddy when the fact that Superman, I guess, was talking to her. And then again, we can bring in some of those other characters also that we've looked at so far. That's Lex Luthor, the man responsible for destroying some of these robots. There again, there's Superman and there's Metamorpho. I still think, though, that when releasing this robot, easily they could have done the same approach to what they did with the faces. The swappable faces are smart ideas, but why not do maybe the same with the torso? The torso right away, out the gates, you could have had like 4, you could have had 12, whatever the other numbered sequences for the robots would have been. They could have all just been sitting inside the tray. You would have just pulled out the crest, popped the new crest in. Collectors right away out the gate, like I said, would have probably bought I would have bought the 4. That way then I could have all the 4 represented. If we already have this mold, I think it would probably be safe to assume that McFarlane would likely release other versions of this where we'll have a robot 4, but we'll have a robot 12. But again, I just feel like that's something that they probably could have done right away with the robot. Include that with all the other accessories that the robot already has now. And then collectors would only just buy the extra 3 that they need so that all 4 are represented on their shelf. See, we're being joined by Crypto again as we wrap up the review for the Superman robot. I've got the figure displayed with his thumbs up. Yes, the boy in blue is going to pull through. It's odd, though, that this robot is being branded under the Red Platinum Edition. When you think of Platinum Edition or Red Platinum Edition, it tends to be a variant of a figure that already exists. Being that this is the only time that we've gotten this Superman robot so far, it's surprising really that they didn't just simply release this as the deluxe theatrical edition and then save the Red Platinum Edition sticker for another release of this robot. Still, though, I would imagine with this mold now being part of their inventory, Todd and his team working diligently, I'm sure, behind the scenes, they will be releasing several other versions of this robot. I'm calling it now. They've already got the body. All they really need to do is maybe give them different accessories, different hands, different faces, and different chest numbers. Still, though, I really feel like all of that could have been packaged so easily at the beginning, and initially releasing this robot with the 3 other chest numbers and with the 3 different face plates. If anything, I would say you could probably have done away with at least half the head faces and use that plastic instead to give us all the numbers. As a collector, one that certainly is a completionist, we already now see the trailer. We know that there's a scene where the 4 robots are carrying Superman into safety. How many collectors will not want to get a battle-damaged Superman and not recreate that scene on their shelf? Out the gate, yeah, they could have released 4 different versions, or they could have released this one robot, yes, with the 3 different other chest numbers. And the collectors then could have just done that themselves. Bought 4 of these things, changed the numbers, and have them displayed with the different numbers. Still, I don't understand how you have 6 robots in the Fortress of Solitude, yet in the trailer we see Robot 12. It's again a question I'm sure it will be answered when the movie eventually comes out in July. What do you guys think of Superman Robot? Let me know down below in the comment section. Do you feel like instead of getting subsequent numbered releases of these guys under the Platinum Edition, do you feel like, again, like they could have just bundled it all together and included the chest numbers with 1 figure instead of releasing another 3? If in the meantime you guys did enjoy this video, you can do it a solid throw to like. You guys want to stick around for more so? Yeah, I hope so. Mentioning also, by the way, that Battle Damaged Superman, would you believe? As well, there's going to be a review of Battle Damaged Superman coming onto this channel during this week. Mark it on your calendar. Even if you have an outdated calendar, mark it down anyways. There's definitely going to be a lot more videos coming your way. So as always, thanks for watching. See you guys next time.